In this second video for my series on Rene Le Forestier's masterpiece, The Bavarian Illuminati, The Rise and Fall of the World's Most Secret Society, first published in 1914, I will discuss Book 2. This encompasses Le Forestier's remarks on the beginnings of Freemasonry in Germany, the strict observance from 1751 to 1780, as well as its greatness and decline. Freemasonry entered Germany in the mid-1700s in two different forms, English Freemasonry and French Freemasonry. At the time, there existed three grades: apprentice, journeyman, and master. According to Le Forestier, the first lodge known to exist in Germany was located in Hamburg in 1737. German Freemasonry had an aristocratic character, and Le Forestier says it played a significant role in creating the specific grade of Scottish Master around the time of 1740. This specific type of Freemasonry was different in that it incorporated aspects of alchemy that were also found in some of French Freemasonry. This is probably due to the fact that Germany was at the time experiencing a rebirth of interest in the occult sciences due to new discoveries in physics and chemistry. Some of the symbols of Freemasonry were presented as alchemical or magical symbols, which increased their mystical allure. The Templar Legend was introduced at this time into German Freemasonry. Le Forestier says it was discovered by the leaders of the German Rosicrucians, or the Golden and Rosy Cross. He contends that these individuals made up a fiction which became reality 40 years later and spread among many followers. Le Forestier recounts the legend that began it all. He says that when the Crusades were undertaken in 1090 A.D. to reconquer the Promised Land, many brothers considered it their duty to take part. Among them were three ancient masters of Scotland who knew from tradition that Ezra had hidden in the cornerstone of the temple, which had been rebuilt during his time, a document containing the ancient master word. Following the conquest of the Holy City, these ancient masters made excavations in the ruins of the temple, where they discovered a hollow cubic stone that contained 3 gold cups. A J was engraved on the first, a G on the second, and on the third, an O. The Jews had interpreted these signs as depicting the 3 bodies of which all things in this world are made. By the time the Saracens became masters of Jerusalem again, the Scottish Masons had brought the secret of alchemy back to their land, where it has been preserved since that time in Edinburgh. This introduced into German Freemasonry the idea of 2 new concepts: the existence of unknown superiors and the Templar line of descent. According to the story, the mysteries of the Templar order were transmitted by the Essenes to the Holy Sepulchre. Le Forestier comments that there is a strong possibility that the Templar legend was in fact born in France. However, it only fully developed in Germany, where it gave birth to Templar Freemasonry. The principles of the Templars coincided nicely with the goals of the German Freemasons: sobriety, secrecy, poverty, chastity, friendship unto death, mutual aid, and defense of the Christian religion. The legend maintains that the Templar Society was persecuted and oppressed when their leader, Jacques de Molay, was executed, but that somehow managed to escape, especially to Scotland. These survivors called themselves the Sons of the Widow after their leader was killed. The society then went underground until it could one day emerge from the shadows, retake Jerusalem, and rediscover the ancient knowledge that had been hidden. Le Forestier recounts the Templar legend as it was read to a novice after his initiation into the order. It contained details about the founding and development of the Templar order up to 1307, and the story of what happened to its leader, Jacques de Molay. De Molay was arrested in Paris on October 13, 1310, and was burned at the stake over a slow fire that consumed his feet first. A large number of knights were able to escape to the north, however, to Sweden, Norway, Ireland, and Scotland, and escaped the same fate. The fugitives changed their names and disguised themselves as Masons, taking up the dress and customs of Masons as they did so. A list of the Grand Masters that followed from Jacques de Molay was passed down to the descendants of this group. What the strict observance provided that other lodges failed to do was a logically organized hierarchy built upon a historical past. A man named Baron von Prinsen, worshipful master of the Three Globes of Berlin and first master of the Claremont chapter, and Pastor Rosa, a superintendent, counselor, and pastor, reinvented the Templar legend. They created a new system called Claremont, which incorporated the Templar legend with all its mystical aspects. They rewrote the notebooks of the system and added new grades to the system, which were designed to appeal to recruits interested in the occult. New recruits were promised they would be instructed in such subjects as theology, mysticism, astronomy, astrology, chronology, politics, morality, cosmology, alchemy, the Kabbalah, theosophy, and magic. The notebooks were given out under the seal of secrecy. At the initiation of the Scottish Knight, a story was told of 3 cups delivered in the 12th or 13th centuries in the foundations of the temple by 4 brothers. These cups were eventually given to the Scottish King David II and held the knowledge of alchemy, which had disappeared after the death of Solomon and which the Scottish Knights had taught to the Templars. Therefore, Le Forestier recounts that the Scottish Knights were instructed to learn and practice the royal art of alchemy. Le Forestier describes the significance of these cups to the knights, and he says, "The cup bearing the letter J indicated the salt, that is the essence of all things, and subsequently the fundamental element of every philosophical creation." In other words, the crafting of the philosopher's stone. The cup marked G signified sulfur, and the third represented Mercury. The Scottish Knight was expected to understand their fundamental truths and was then accepted into the chapter of the elect or Knights of the Eagle. Le Forestier cast much doubt upon the authenticity of this system, however. He says that after a while the Claremont system began to collapse. Then a charlatan who knew how to turn Masonic gullibility into gold, arrived on the scene in 1763. This man called himself Johnson, but his real name was Lecht. He pronounced that he had come to reform Freemasonry in accordance with the Templar rite, to show the true light to the brothers gone astray in the darkness, and he also let it be known at the same time that he knew the art of transmuting metals. He set out to launch a new Templar system of his own invention. He founded the Zion chapter and demanded that representatives of other German chapters receive instructions from him. Another reformer appeared on the scene in Germany in the 1740s named the Baron of Hund. He was initiated into Freemasonry in Frankfurt, studied in France, and eventually returned to Germany following the Treaty of Hubertusburg in 1763. Johnson wished to propose an alliance with Hund, and according to Le Forestier, he attempted to convince Hund of the need to do so by claiming to have been sent from Scotland by the true superiors to reform German Freemasonry. He told how Freemasonry was nothing other than the continuation of the Order of the Temple, and that the plan of the superiors was to truly re-establish it, and that the knight priests had sought refuge in the Scottish Isles with their knowledge and secrets. Hund, however, was not duped. It did not take him long to discover that Johnson was in fact nothing but an impostor and a charlatan. Le Forestier comments that it was not Hund who invented the legend of Jacobite Freemasonry. He says that as early as 1739, a book appeared that attributed the founding of Freemasonry to King James II. It was Hund, however, who spread the idea that the Stuarts were the unknown superiors. In the end, the ritual of the Templar system was added on to German Freemasonry, and it came to be called strict observance. It was associated with a military-style discipline that was distinct from English Freemasonry, which was regarded as a degenerate form of Masonry. Le Forestier says that the strict observance sought to create a powerful corporation that would hold a large amount of wealth in land holdings. He quotes from a letter dated February 1st, 1757, which states, The final goal, which has always appeared appealing and flattering to me, and which I have never sought to hide from the brothers of the inner order, is to appear publicly with the consent of some power in the form of a regular knightly order, by then taking some name we find pleasing and acquiring for the order lands under direct empire control. Therefore, they sought to form a privileged group that would hide their Templar affiliation. A schemer known as Pastor Stark, assistant headmaster at a secondary school and professor of Eastern languages and ancient history, attempted to step into a leadership role of the strict observance. He would try to reinvigorate the group by emphasizing its connection with the occult sciences that the Templar predecessors had been rumored to possess. Stark began corresponding with Baron von Hund. He pressed the idea that many members of the Templar order were believers in these occult sciences. He hinted that it might be possible to uncover ancient secret teachings and thus uncover the mystery of how the Templars acquired vast wealth. Stark believed that it was the clerks of the Templar order who were responsible for amassing the wealth and riches of the order, and they alone who saved a large part of the secret scriptures that had been preserved. The Templar legend was preserved in the notebooks of the strict observance. Le Forestier quotes from the source Extract of the Modern History of the Order from 1312 to 1744 to summarize the legend. Throughout all the ages of history, there had been privileged men, enlightened by divine grace, who had a perfect knowledge of nature and the relationship between God and man, and who possessed absolute power over all earthly things. Among all peoples, there had been Illuminati, who worshipped God in spirit and in truth, and who, isolated from the world that knew not of their existence, had preserved the sacred trust of the truth and had passed it on in the form of mysteries and emblems. During the Crusades, 7 Syrian Christians of the Essene sect found sanctuary with the Templars and imparted their teachings to them. The Templars became keepers of this trust until the order was suppressed. These clerks of the temple formed a close society within the Templar order and saved a large part of the secret scriptures. The strict observance continued to expand its membership and spread throughout Germany during the period of 1773 to 1776. However, quarrels and disagreements among members and groups eventually came to compromise the order's strength. A congress was held in Brunswick from May 23 to July 6, 1775, but it did not succeed in resolving problems and conflicts. According to Le Forestier, the Brunswick Congress did not obtain any enlightenment on the origin or authenticity of the system, nor of the secret teachings it was believed to hold. In addition, many rival systems battled one another for supremacy, including Freemasons and Rosicrucians, though English Freemasonry had for the most part been abandoned in Germany. There were even those Templars who began to worry that they had been used as tools by the Jesuits. Le Forestier reports that a Procureur General of the 7th Templar province concluded that Jesuits invented Templar Freemasonry in order to support the cause of the Stuarts, who were Catholic, and after the order was suppressed, it could then continue the fight against Protestantism, but do so under the cover of secrecy. In the next video, I will cover Le Forestier's discussion of illuminated Freemasonry and how Adam Weishaupt decided at the beginning of 1777 to get initiated into the Order of the Freemasons.